I'm going to show you how to cheese the Malenia, the Blade of Miquella boss fight. Okay, so there are a few different ways we can do this. Cheesing her is very hard, even with cheese tactics, but I'm going to give you all the cheese tactics that you can use in order to beat her, depending on what class you're running. Also, I'm going to give you a lot of tips and tricks on just how to beat her in general on top of that. So hopefully between the cheese strategies and the tips that I give you, you'll be able to defeat this boss. I've been told this is the hardest boss in the entire game. I'm going to do my best to help you guys get through this one. Also, if you're curious at the location of Malenia, she is way up here in the secret, part of the map called Haligtree. This is a very late game. You're going to have to go through the Grail to Roll. You have to get the Haligtree medallion. You get one piece at the top of Castle Sol, which, by beating a boss, you'd beat a boss. The other one that's right here, Village of Albanurx, follow the south wall right below this grace and just go to the east, and there'll be a jar hidden in the shadows. That guy will give you the other half. Then you take it to the Grail to Roll. It'll let you go through this path. You go up here, go to this town. You do some stuff in a second portal in the town. Got to light all these statues or something, and then it'll take you to Haligtree, and you got to get all the way over to here. Very tough getting your way over to here. Once you're here, you can access the boss fight of Malenia, the possibly hardest boss in the entire game. The first thing you need to know is apparently there's actually a way to cheese her that I found on accident at the end of all my recordings, where it's one of those stars align moments. If she has poison or rot on her, and you do the move to a critical hit move on her, and you take her to 0 HP while she has rot or poison on her, her HP will go negative, apparently, and then stage 2 will die instantly. So that is one possibility, but that's only if you're going to be doing a strength build and beating her up, like I'm going to show you later in this video, and the stars just align and you happen to get the crit knockdown at just the right time. Now, you can pull some strings to kind of make it happen, but it's still just one of those stars align kind of moments if it actually does happen. But excluding stars align type of cheeses, I have other tips and tricks for you that I'm going to go over. So in order to cheese this boss, it's going to be complicated. So I'm going to try to give you as many things as possible to combine here. It's your choice what you are willing to use or what you're not willing to use. So the first thing that you're going to want, if you are willing to use it, is some kind of shield that has 100% physical guarded damage negation. The reason for this is obviously the ridiculous slash ability that you may be having trouble with. Now, I'm also going to show you ways to dodge it later on, sort of dodge it, but it's very hard to not get hit at all, and it's just nice to have a shield, because if you're in the wrong position, there's actually, as far as I'm aware, there's actually no way to dodge it if you're in the wrong position when she starts it. So, shield is always good. It doesn't matter what shield, doesn't matter if it's a medium or a great shield, if you are a mage or something like that. If you're a strength build, then you're going to want a great shield, because we'll talk about that in just a second. But again, main thing is physical 100, and then making sure that you can actually wield the shield. That's the main thing. Shield's going to be really useful. Have it on your left hand. Have it ready to swap, so you can just really quickly swap to it at the right time, and then start blocking. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about here, there's a few things I'm going to talk about. One is, the actual easiest way to cheese stage 1 is with a strength build, surprisingly. If you saw my video about being invincible, the invincible strength block build or whatever, being able to block while attacking will allow you to cheese this boss absurdly easily. On stage 2, however, it actually takes a reasonable amount of skill to do it actually, but on stage 1, with a little bit of practice, you can just easily beat stage 1 with almost no damage taken using the invincible blocking build. Your choices on that, it depends how much strength you want to go. You can always use a shield that also has the barricade shield Ashes of War. I don't have it on right now, which is a buff that you can cast that will let you boost your guard boost up by 35. So that will give it, let you pick a shield that doesn't have as much strength. If you want to go that way, get one that just has 65 or more. And also leveling up a shield will give you more guard boost. So just if you have one that's like, 62 or 60 or something, you can just go ahead and level it with smithing stones in order to get your guard boost 65. Mainly just get it to 65 and get that buff, or you get one, if you're really committed to strength, you can get the one that I have in a video, I'll put in the description of this one, and the related, the best shield in the game, which is the fingerprint stone shield, but it weighs 29, and you'll need 48 strength to use it. So if this is for a real strength build, like what I have, that'll make it easy. You don't have to use an ability, it just always will block as long as you have the Great Shield Talisman. And also have the Great Shield Talisman in the description of this video below the first paragraph. Either way, though, you need some kind of shield. Now, if you're a mage, the options are a little bit different. You just get whatever magics that you like, and then you're going to have to rely on a summon. The one that is probably the best is either going to be Great Shield Soldier's Ashes or Mimic Tear. If you are using the Mimic Tear, however, then you're going to want to, during stage 1, summon it at some point. You're going to put on the heaviest armor you got and a shield. And you're also going to want to give it... Where is this thing? Shabriri's Woe. If you put it on your summon and then take it off after you summon, it'll make the boss latch onto your summon pretty much indefinitely. It may come off every now and then, the boss, but then the Mimic Tier will hold the aggro, and then you can just beat the hell out of the boss with your magic spells, and that's like a much easier way to do it. The Great Shields are also an alternative, but the catch is there's 5 of them, so she lifesteals like crazy, but I can confirm it is possible to do enough DPS to burn her through the lifesteal, even with her feeding it off of 5 potential targets. And if you have the Great Shield Soldier Ashes leveled up high enough, they will survive for quite some time. The other good cheese to combo with some of this would be the Sword of Night and Flame, because the Sword of Night and Flame lets you do this ability, which does a ridiculous amount of damage, and it will even knock her on her butt on either stage, which will make your summon survive longer. So it's a good thing to combo with a summon cheese for this fight. Another option if you're a hardcore sorcerer is you could go crazy and give it a risk and try to do the Comet Azure along with the, whichever one of these ones is. There's one of these that gives you infinite FP, which I actually don't have on this character, but there's one that gives infinite FP. I think that one was found at the Erdtree in the volcano place, this one right here. You can loop around this way and come down through there to get to it. And that one will give you infinite FP for 10 seconds. You can combo the Comet Azure. When you get to stage 2 and she crashes into the ground showing all her red tails, you could just try to get away and then Comet Azure and see if you could just kill her before she gets up. But that's going to require a lot of DPS. So you're going to need a lot of int, a lot of staff. I don't know if you'll actually finish her before that's over. But if your summon's up at that point, then you may be able to get enough damage where then you can easily finish her off the rest of the way. That'd be a good way to cheese if you're a hardcore sorcerer. Another option you have is the hardcore cheese. Now, I think this will get patched out of the game at some point, so it's hardly worth mentioning, but as of when I made this video, it existed. What you can do is use an ability called Fire's Deadly Sin. It's an incantation. It'll make you, well, be on fire. But the catch with this is if you use a weapon that has seppuku on it, which is an Ash of War. I'll try to remember to put that in the description of this video as well, below the first paragraph. You can commit seppuku, and suddenly this flame attack that you have on you will deal bleed damage with every tick, and it's like a bug in the game, and it'll basically bleed an enemy every 2 seconds, and you can just get a shield out, stay close, and stay on her, and it'll just bleed the hell out of her and just kill her super fast. And to show you what I mean, let me just go ahead and do it real fast. So I don't have to attack her, and she should shields bleed. So if I attack her also, it'll be totally busted. But just this alone is already so broken. I just get her into a corner. And I may even be able to interrupt her special... No, even her special attack can be interrupted because of the bleed. So this is one option. You could try to cheese it this way somehow. If I attack her on top of this with my super block stance, then it just gets silly, guys. It just gets silly. The seppuku wore off, unfortunately. I didn't cast it at the right time. But you see where that could be broken? You could try to use a tactic like that in order to get it done. That's probably the cheesiest right now, but this will probably get patched out long term. So you're watching the video months from now, that may not be in the game, that bug. Another thing I would recommend doing with the summon is having healing spells equipped when you go to do it. So memorize spells. I actually don't have any good healing spells on this character, but if you do, you want to get the ones for just giant burst heals. That would be the one that you'd want to equip. You actually would probably want to take off all your spells except for that, so that unless you're a spellcaster, then you're going to want to take off all your spells except for whatever healing one you want, and then whatever one you are going to do for damage. Another good thing that you can do, come to think of it, to help cheese this, is you could try using Rot Breath on her while she's busy on your summon, just to get extra damage on her over time. It's also another option that could just help you min-max this and cheese it out a little bit more. Another thing, if you want to go the Mimic Tier route, is you'll want to take off all your spells except for one healing spell, or else your Mimic Tier is going to spam all those spells erratically. And also, if you are a spellcaster, then you're just going to want to take off all your spells and incantations except for a super healing one and whatever 1 or 2 damaging ones that you would use are, so that way your Mimic Tier isn't tempted to just use totally random BS. I personally am going to go in here and use the Shabriri's Woe and then swap it for the Erdtree's Favor and show you what I mean about it holding aggro. Alright, so I'm going to get in here. I'm going to immediately summon the Mimic and get ready to swap my Talisman. Now, there are a lot more optimizations you can do than what I showed you to make your summon take significantly less damage, but for me that's good enough. It doesn't really matter. Really, ideally, you're going to want a strength build for stage 1. I didn't mean to do this. This is a disaster. Also, you're going to want to back up your summon as much as you can to try to preserve its HP by blasting her as much as you can and then just spamming FP flasks just to try to keep her staggered so that she can't finish as fast. Now, I'm not built right for this. This is something you'll really just want to be a mage if you use the Mimic Tier from the start, because the Sword Knight Flame is not going to do as much consistent DPS as those real ranged attacks that have like homing attacks and stuff. Those things are what you really want for this fight. This is not ideal at all to be using Sword Knight Flame, but it is an option, and as you can see, it's an okay option. You can see how this is moderately viable, and if you have your summon built a little bit more tanky than me, it'll be much more effective. The other big thing here is to... Oh, I just messed up. We lost the stagger. The other big thing here is to lose my train of thought because I'm trying to fight. Can't remember. Oh, I remember. As soon as you did that. The other big thing you're going to want to do is you are going to want to be ready to pull a shield out, because she may just target you like she's targeted on me right now, and she could kill you if you're squishy. Like that. So you gotta be ready to pull that shield out at any time. I wish I was not ready. Funny thing here, by the way, I got the cutscene from my summon killing her, even though I'm dead. So now I skip it, and then die. So you get the point on that. If you're a sorcerer, you can really take advantage of that Shabriri's Woe. She'll almost never aggro on you. And if you're a real sorcerer with longer range attacks, you can keep enough distance where you can have way more time to react with your shield. So that's like the sorcerer way to try to cheese it. Stage 2 is going to be more of the same, doing the same kind of thing. Although, you're going to have to go quick because that summon's going to be weak. So it really depends. Getting your summon tanky enough and having enough sorceries and strong enough sorcery damage to be able to burst her down before the fight is over. That Shabriri's Woe will carry the hell out of you. Also, I should probably mention the Shabriri's Woe, where to get it. It is all the way down here. If you're still watching this one clip and not skipping through the video. Down here at Frenzied Flame Village at this exact house right here is where you can get Shabriri's Woe, or you can look it up on the wiki if you want to. So the other thing, though, that is actually better is way easier to cheese her if you're a strength build. If you are a strength build so that you can have the Fingerprint Stone Shield, a Sword of Night and Flame, and an Ant Spur Rapier. And I'll have videos on where to get all 3 of these in the description of this video. Also, important to have is a Sacred Seal, without going into heavy equipment load. I had to take off my pants and my helmet in order to do this, even with these talismans. And by the way, I don't have 4th talisman because you can soft lock yourself out of having 4th talisman by waiting too long to get it, and then the lady's dead and I couldn't get it. Okay, so I know there's going to be comments saying how to get my 4th talisman. I know how to get it. I'm physically soft locked out of it. Okay, anyway. So for this one, what I'm going to do, though, is I can do a few different ways. I can use the Mimic Tier, or I could just use the Great Shield Soldier's Ashes. Either one would actually work. I'm going to do it with the Mimic Tier, though, just because a lot of people are obsessed with the Mimic Tier, but the Great Shield will work too. Maybe I'll show you both. Okay. I forgot there's one more thing that you are going to need for stage 1, is instead of the Sword of Night and Flame, you're going to want to have a pike equipped that has seppuku. This is the way to do this, okay? Pike with seppuku, Ant Spur Rapier with seppuku that does poison instead of bleed. And there's a reason we want to do this. We're going to use the pike because it's easy and consistent to beat her up with it. Using seppuku, and then once her health gets low enough, we're going to swap to the Ant Spur Rapier so that we can proc poison and Scarlet Rot on her right before stage 2, which will just make it so you start stage 2 with her having rot and poison on her, and then that will make stage 2 a little bit easier. Also, the pike just really is better for fighting stage 1, and the Ant Spur Rapier is better for stage 2. Right when she starts to get to that point, we're going to get to where she's poisoned and has rot, and she's about to die. And then we're just going to back off and disengage, and she'll just stand there and let us do whatever we want. And then we're going to swap this pike out for the Sword of Night and Flame during that window. And we're going to get ready to summon. We're going to get ready with the this thing over to a Shabriri's Woe. We're just going to get all that ready at that point. But also, you're going to want a lot of Flask of Cerulean Tears and not very many Crimson Tears, because you don't really need healing if you're built this way, if you're doing the strength cheese. And with a little bit of practice, stage 1's actually really easy. So if you have the right spells, start with Golden Vow if you have them. You don't need them in order to do this. It just makes it easier. Golden Vow, then Flame Grant Me Strength. Then you're going to do Seppuku. And then you're going to pull out your shield and go in here. So what you're going to want to do in order to do this with the pike is just slowly and steadily just tap her. You don't even need to go full speed. You just want to interrupt her attacks. That's like really your main goal. And whenever she does something that's drawn out, you want to put your shield down and kind of just walk. Every now and then it's possible for her to flip around you kind of weird, and then she'll be able to get a hit on you. Here comes a super attack. I'll show you guys how to dodge this one later on in the video. But yeah, you can kind of dodge most of that pretty easily, which then makes her unable to lifesteal with it. The other thing you need to do really bad is you want to keep a certain speed of attacks on her, because she does have a grab attack, and if she gets you with the grab attack, you're pretty much dead. It does an insane amount of damage, but it only takes one attack to interrupt her grab, so as long as you keep the pressure on, you should be okay. Now at this point, I've got the stagger, but I'm actually going to back off, because now that she's low, I want to finish her with the Antspur Rapier so I can give her poison and rot. So I'm going to take this time. She'll give me, if you get distance, she'll let you do whatever. I'm going to swap out the pike now with the Sword of Night and Flame, because it's better for stage 2 cheese. We're going to use the Mimic Tier stage 2. And then I'm also going to take off the Golden Order seal, so my summon won't summon anything. I have Shabriri's Woe on to attract, so I'll take off once I summon. And now I think I'm pretty much good to go. So the Rapier is scary to use on her because it's harder to, it doesn't reach as far. So I'm going to use Seppuku with it. We have to have Seppuku or else it's hell trying to do this. The range is not as far, so you have to keep on her really well, which is fine, but the big problem with it is if she goes for the grab when she has distance, she could easily just get you. Also, let me dodge this real fast. Very easy to dodge that, actually. I'll explain it at, once we get done with the cheese of this. So just keep beating on her. It uses way less stamina. You'll be able to stay on her way better. If she backs off, you just want to get that distance closed. And more than anything, you're just watching out for a grab and praying that if she does grab, you can interrupt it. So she's got the poison now. And we're really hoping to get the rot before we go to stage 2. I'm actually not going to finish her there. I'm going to back off and use a flask, actually. And then I'm going to re-seppuku. I really want to drag this part out to try to get the rot on her and let the round finish with rot so I can have time to get ready for stage 2. That's really the ideal way. And then she'll start stage 2 with rot, which is really good. Alright, now we gotta do another one of these ones. I messed it up a little bit, but that's fine. Can't quite seem to get the rot on her. There it is. There's the rot. So now what you can do, if she's that low and she has rot, you can just chill. You can just back off. You can get ready to do whatever you need to do. I'm going to flask up at this point. I've got to restore my FP. And I've got to get the Mimic Tier ready to go. And then I'm going to swap to the Sword of Night and Flame. Have my shield out. I want to have my shield for this, because the first attack, I don't feel like dodging. It's just easier to block. So block that. Roll the next part. Get back. Summon the Mimic Tier. Get ready to take off Shabriri's Woe. Swap it with whatever I want. And now I'm going to heal one last time. And that Shabriri's Woe has her attention. So I'm going to put my shield away because it makes it easier to remember how to swap to it. And now I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to free cast on her while she beats the hell out of the summon. Unless she goes for me. And I reacted with the shield, so I'm okay. Oh, that's why you gotta have the shield, though. Okay, so now let me just get back on her, and you can really quickly see where this is going. How, if you manage your FP better, you could easily kill her before she kills your summon. If not, though, you could just fight her fair and square. God, this elevation's so bad. You could just fight her fair and square with that build that I just showed, but it is kind of tough to fight her on stage 2 with it. So your best bet's going to do this until you get a lucky cycle and just beat her with the Sword of Night and Flame. Although it looks like she's going to kill that summon soon. Not going to last more than one hit. Oh, she's coming for me. Oh, she's not coming for me. Alright, so that's not good. We don't want to deal with that. So now we're going to have to actually fight her. And you're going to see how cheese fighting works on this stage. So, same kind of thing. Rapier is better for stage 2 because she has no fear of staying close. The only thing you want to do is dodge that rot. And other than that, you got to know how to dodge her super attack. and then you can do the same thing in stage 1, and you can just outpower her. What we're really hoping she'll do is one of her super heavy attacks, where then I'll have time to do a seppuku. But I'm only going to have time to do a seppuku if I get a certain kind of attack pattern. Now, I don't think I can actually run away in time and get a seppuku on this. I don't think she's going to let me do a seppuku, no. What we're hoping for, is it this one? No, it's not this either. This one you can just block. So I'm kind of stuck here now. Really, all I can do is just fight her and try to get rot and poison on her at this point, because it's just a waiting game until she does the attack that I want, which is the one where she puts all the tails around her again. That's the only one that gives you enough time for a seppuku. Oh, I messed that up. That's not good. I can't afford to mess that up again. If I can get the rod on her, then I'm just chilling, though. You'll see how, because she ignores me, it's just kind of stupid. Okay, this is the one we want. Hopefully I'll survive, though. So now I can do a seppuku, which is really scary because I didn't give myself enough flasks, but you get the point of how you could do this fight as a cheese at this point. I also at this point wanted to explain how to dodge that attack like I was doing. So what you're going to do is you're just going to, if you have a shield, you're going to hold, well, if you're close, you're just going to hold block, and you're going to have to block that first round, and then she'll pause. When you see her pause like this, you're going to want to roll to her back right, so go forward and to her back left. So you're going to go forward and to the right. Then she'll miss you terribly, and then she'll get in the air, and you're going to walk straight at her, and then once she flips past you and it spins your camera, you're going to roll away from her, and that should get you far enough away to just dodge all the damage other than the blocking of the first part. And as long as you can block that attack, if you're going for the strength build, the rest of the fight's easy. That's literally the only attack that can get through. If you have things to get rid of Scarlet Rot buildup, then it's going to be even easier as a strength build. You're really going to have the most trouble with a sorcerer build, but at the same time, if you have a sorcerer build, you're going to do so much damage compared to how I'm built right now with my sword, Knight and Flame as my only magic, that you're going to do so much more damage than me that if you put out the correct Mimic Tier, or if you summon the Great Shield Soldier's Ashes, you'll be able to just burn through her like before your summon dies, probably, if you're built strong enough for it. If you place the Mimic Tier with the right stuff, with the right talismans, with the right armor, to make it strong enough to endure that. Again, the other option is a +9 or +10 Great Shield Soldier's Ashes, which I also think are really good. I was going to get clips of the Great Shield Soldier's Ashes to show you just how good they actually are compared to the Mimic Tier in this fight. They're actually reasonable. They're better than Mimic Tier, actually, in most cases. It's just that they feed more lifesteal, so you have to out-DPS her harder, which if you're a good mage is not a problem. Only reason I couldn't get those clips, though, was because I got that game-breaking cheat in, like you saw in the start of the video, where apparently if she's rotted or poisoned and you get her with a crit kill for first stage, somehow that can bug the game and make her start stage 2 with like 5 HP, and then she just dies. So that was unfortunate because I wasn't done getting footage when that happened, and I don't really have time to go New Game Plus, and it's also like not the same thing to do New Game Plus. I don't know, I would be the first time, really. It's really like getting close for the first time, because that's like your time that you're struggling the hardest. But yeah, so that is Malenia, the Blade of Miquella. That is everything I got for you on how to cheese her and how to fight her. If you want to fight her legitimately, you're just going to have to learn the attack patterns and then dodge her super attack like I showed. If you are far enough away when she does it, you can actually dodge the first part of that attack by just running away and then roll back through and do exactly like I showed to dodge the attack. So you either have to start far enough away, or if you're too close, you got to have a shield. I couldn't find any way to dodge through. Maybe I just couldn't find it, but I tried many times, tried rolling forward, left, right, back, at an angle, different timings, and that first stage, if you're right on her when she does it, it pretty much no matter what will hit you as far as I could tell. But yeah, if you do all the things I showed you between the Flame's Deadly Sin and potentially getting the stars alignment kind of cheat like in the beginning, or even just spamming magic while your summon does it, if you have the right summon for it, either +10 Great Shield Soldier or +10 Mimic with armor and a super shield and whatever in order to, and a healing spell in order to survive, those are going to be your best ways to go about it. The absolute best way, though, is going to be a strength build. The strength build, with this stone slab shield. If you want to get it, it's in the description of this video below the first paragraph. That's going to be your go-to. That's going to be the easiest way to beat her. Like, you just practice it a little bit, and it's just easy then. Like, you just cheese the hell out of her. She can't hurt you. She can't do anything. Only you got to watch out for is Rod on stage 2 once you get some practice with it. That's definitely the easiest way to do it if you feel like doing it with melee and practicing the melee combat a little bit with it. But, yeah, that's everything I got for you. Hopefully that helps. Hopefully now you have a better idea of how to beat Malenia, I mean. I don't know how to say her name. Malenia, the Blade of Miquella in Elden Ring.